What's up, everyone? Welcome to Maelstrom Gaming. I'm Maelstrom, and today we are going to be taking a look at a replay commentary of Kael'thas, the Sun King. But first, since this is a new hero, I want to take a quick look at his abilities before we actually jump into the replay commentary, because there's a lot more stuff that I want to talk about in the commentary. So let's actually talk about his abilities first before that. So, I did cover this a little bit in my analysis of Kael'thas video, which you can go ahead and watch again if you'd like. This will be a little bit more updated. I'm going to talk about a little bit what talents he gained that we didn't know he had before, if anything's changed about his abilities, stuff like that. So first things first, let's talk about his abilities. So Flame Strike, after a short delay, it's pretty short. It's about 0.75 seconds or something like that, pretty short. You deal damage in an area, and this actually does a lot of damage if you actually use Verdant Spheres with it. Verdant Spheres, of course, is his trait. You use D to empower your next ability, and this is a 6-second cooldown, so that kind of clarifies exactly what and how you use this ability. Before you want to use an ability a certain way, you will use Verdant Spheres with it. And let's talk about those bonuses. So for Flame Strike, if you use a Verdant Sphere bonus with that, you will increase the radius by 50%, which is actually massive. It will encapsulate the entire minion wave, so keep that in mind. We're going to be using this for clearing a lot, along with Living Bomb. And what Living Bomb is, there's a lot of text here, but basically what it is, you put it on somebody, or a minion, or a mercenary, or anything really that you can attack, and it will deal damage over 3 seconds, and then it will explode, dealing half that damage to everyone around you. Of course, you can buff this ability from a talent. And basically, you can kind of combo this with Verdant Spheres. So, for instance, the Verdant Spheres bonus here is you have it completely free, no cooldown, no mana cost, so you can basically just use it for free. On a minion, on anything, on a hero, you can use it for harassment, which is pretty good, especially later on. Basically, how you clear minion waves, and it's actually really effective. It doesn't work for the first level. It works about once you get a talent at around level 7, I believe, that increases the damage by Living Bomb by 75%, which we get in pretty much all our games. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Is you empower your Flame Strike, you throw down the Flame Strike, and then you Living Bomb the caster minion, so it hits. So the explosion from the caster minion hits all the targets around it. And basically what happens, the Flame Strike will kill the minion in the middle and cause the Living Bomb to explode. And it will deal damage to everything else, which will basically clear the entire wave. Really strong. Gravity Lapse. Stun the first enemy hit for 1.5 seconds. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a long stun. That's what I was thinking too. And it is. It's an insanely long stun. A lot of stuff can happen in 1.5 seconds, including you can Pyroblast somebody. But there's a bit of finesse with this because it's completely countered by, like, pretty much any hero that can summon minions. So Azmodan, it's okay versus. Anubarak is especially annoying to deal with as Kael'thas because there's just so many beetles, especially today when there's just a million people playing Anubarak to try out and see what happened to him because of the changes they made to him and the beetle AI. So it's kind of annoying, and it's kind of hard to hit, but if you actually use your Verdant Spheres on it, it makes it very, very easy to hit, honestly. But that means you're not empowering this or this, so that's kind of where the complexity from Kael'thas comes into effect. You have to decide what to empower, when to empower it, and how you're going to use it afterwards. But yeah, you can also get some crazy combos. Like if you stun 3 people, that's a one-team fight, honestly. It's really powerful. Now, the ultimates, this is something I was very interested in. The ultimates, or the heroic abilities, are very powerful. The most powerful thing about Phoenix, for example, is it's such a short cooldown. 40 seconds is extremely short. And just keep in mind, it's up for 7 seconds of that. The cooldown doesn't start after the Phoenix dies. It starts when you cast it. So it's essentially only on cooldown for 33 seconds, and it does a decent amount of damage, and the radius is extremely large. And if you upgrade it at level 20, you can move it again, and it's there for 7 more seconds. So it's effectively, you can use it so many times in a fight, and just over the course of a game. It's really powerful. Pyroblast, on the other hand, is still a relatively short cooldown, 50 seconds. I assume that's going to be buffed or nerfed. I feel like it's going to be a longer cooldown. I feel like that's the first thing they'll nerf. But the biggest problem with Pyroblast, the biggest strength, first of all, is it's so much damage. You can almost one-shot like a squishy target at like level 20. Almost. It's really close. You can do like 75% of their health. And you're probably thinking that sounds super OP. And it is, but that's because it's so easy to interrupt. Any stun, any displacement ability, even if they walk out far enough, you can't hit them with it. Like, it'll stop casting. And I'm not sure if that's intended or, maybe that's just a bug. We'll have to see until they kind of comment on that. But Pyroblast is either really buggy or pretty balanced. Because, like, if you can get away from, like, out of range of it, it's a wasted 2 seconds from the Kael'thas. So I've taken both of these a lot of times over the course of the games. If you take a look, we are actually level 9 with Kael'thas, so we've played quite a bit of Kael'thas. The reason for that, the reason this is going out so late, is I really wanted to make sure I had a solid understanding of how to play Kael'thas, how to improve on Kael'thas, and what exactly to actually do as Kael'thas. So those are his abilities, and let's look at the talents. We'll cover these in-game when we take them, but I want to show you exactly what he did gain. Because at level 4, it only showed him having Netherwind and Mana Tap, and I think we said we'd take Netherwind, and we kind of predicted he would have Envenom, and he does have Gathering Power as well, which grants 5% ability power all the time, and you can improve that by getting kills and not dying. So, pretty good. All these are pretty good. We'll talk about the choice in a little bit. And then, this is the same. Spell Shield I don't think he had, but we'd probably never take that anyway. Did he have Arcane Barrier? I think he did. This is actually a really good ability. I actually really like that. And level 20, we did predict he'd get Bolt of the Storm, and Arcane Power I didn't actually know, but that's cool too. That's actually really powerful. Maybe with a Pyroblast build, you could do a lot of damage with this. But with that being said, that's the overview of what his abilities do, what's changed, if anything's crazy about him. I do actually want to point this out because it does happen in the game. Is Phoenix is kind of wonky with its targeting system. It doesn't really work well with sieging. Like, if you're just pushing a lane solo, you can't just throw your Phoenix back and it'll hit the keep. That doesn't work. It actually targets the walls first, which I don't really agree with. I think that's kind of weird. But we will be taking Phoenix in the game we're playing, and I think this is honestly the best choice. But we'll talk about that a little bit when we actually start playing. So with that being said, let's jump right into the game. All right, so we're going to be jumping into the game here. Now, this should be said, it is a quick match game. I tried to get some Hero League games in, but it's practically impossible this early on. Everyone wants to play Kael'thas, so he's practically first pick for every team. It's hard to get first pick every game. And I just wanted to get more games in. So this is a quick match game. There are 2 Kael'thases on the team, and he actually does end up taking the Pyroblast, so you will get to take a quick look at how that works in-game as well, because we'll be taking Phoenix this game. Now, level 1... it basically comes down, I've tried out all of these in-game, and basically it comes down to either Mana Addict or Convection. Mana Addict increases your maximum mana by 15 when you pick up a regen globe, which actually ends up being a lot of mana in your endgame. You can practically spam all your abilities in your endgame if you take Mana Addict. Convection's a lot of damage, but it's kind of hard to combo. Sometimes you can't just, EQ or QE. It's not as easy as it looks. It's like, oh, there's a combo, and it will definitely help you if you hit the combo, but it's not super easy. This is much more safe, much more consistent. We're going to get jumped here by the enemy Kael'thas, who did use the Empowered E, and we get stunned by the Uther. If you actually take a look, it's kind of hard to see with my settings on graphics, but an Empowered ability by Kael'thas, first of all, you can see like the orbs light up when he's going to be using an empowered ability next, but the ability itself will also look greenish, including the Flame Strike. The Living Bomb doesn't because it's not really affected, it's just a cooldown, but that is something to pay attention to. So we are 2v1ing a little bit. Abathur shows up to kind of help us out, thankfully. But yeah, Mana Addict is the go-to, I would say, for all builds, because it gives you a little bit of safety late game, and it gives you a bit of safety for another ability later on, which is Arcane Barrier. It opens it up so that it will be more effective if you want to take that later on. So we have Siege showing up here. We're going to actually move down here. We know the Jaina is actually coming up to help us, so we say, hey, help us out here. The Jaina is going to sit in the bush with us, and we are actually going to throw out our Gravity Lapse right here. He gets stunned, and we're going to throw out our... We actually kind of screwed this up. We were supposed to throw it out DQW, but we actually throwed it out DWQ'd, which isn't that bad. We're going to get a lot of damage from it if we land both of them, which we do. Maybe it was the better option. He would have died either way, I think. But you know, that was a great gank by the Jaina. Really solid. Jaina Kael'thas is actually super strong. You know, they really complement each other. They both have a lot of AoE. They have a decent amount of lockdown, I want to say. Like, the Jaina has a slow and the Kael'thas has a stun, which is pretty strong, especially if you can hit 3 people and then the Jaina just blizzards on top of that. Really powerful. So we're just trying to get seeds here. This game actually starts off a little bit rough later on. Now, level 4, we're going to be taking Netherwind. Why am I taking Netherwind? And the reason for that is, look at how long it is. Look at how long it is now. You cut that by 30%, that's a lot of range and speed. This makes it so it's so much easier to hit the gravity lapse. And you're probably saying, oh, well, it's the easy option, you know, I want to be the best. And sure, if you want to be the best, you could probably take Gathering Power or Envenom, and still, and you do all right. But this helps, I think this helps, you know, set up ganks, set up kills so much easier. It lets you set up like the 3-person stun, which we're actually going to get right here. Boom, 3 people stunned. We get the Flame Strike as well. He is going to die, the Nazebo, but that's okay, it was cool. Netherwind is probably my go-to. Mana Tap, I don't even think this is worth getting, ever, honestly. It's just not enough mana. Or it's not enough value from it. Now, we do get jumped by a lot of people. The Sonya gets taken down really low and almost gets frostbolted, but not quite. And there's a lot of low people here. So we're going to try to zone as much as possible. We're going to try to have these guys take this alone, and this team composition is kind of awkward. And we do get the kill on the Kael'thas just by using all of our abilities. We use the Empowered Flame Strike, and then we Living Bombed. Just a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Empowered Flame Strike just on its own does a lot of damage. We're going to be buffing it a little bit later as well. But we're going to be trying to take this Garden Terror. Everyone's showing up now, though, so we should probably just back... We should have just backed off here. I have no mana. There's not a lot we can do. People are really low, though. The Sergeant Hammer's going to die, and I mistakenly try to hit the Uther with an Empowered Living Bomb, which would have been free, so we could have casted it no matter what our mana is. But doesn't actually end up working out, and people are just going to start getting cleaned up. Nazebo's going to get killed. Everyone's going to get killed. It looks kind of rough. The Sonya goes down, at least, and the Jane is going to just die horribly here. So at this point, we're just trying to catch up, because they did actually end up getting a Terror while all this was happening. So it's a little rough. We're a little bit behind because they have the Terror. Jaina just, yuck. Yuck. We're going to try to chase the Kael'thas. We do have the range on the gravity levels, but he's just a little bit out of range. Maybe we could have hit him if we aimed a little more this way, or angled it that way a little bit. And, again, when you take Mana Addict, you want to try to hit as many regen globes as humanly possible, especially if you want to take Arcane Barrier later on. Sergeant Hammer's here, but we can't really do anything because the Terror is in between him and her, or her and everyone else. Level 7, this is where we start to do a lot of damage, is when we take Fission Bomb, or at least this is when we start to set up dealing a lot of damage. We're going to try to hit him. Again, we're not a master yet. We do a lot of damage. Look at that explosion, 163 damage from the explosion alone. A lot of damage. Now, let's talk a little bit, real quick, before things get a little heated over here, about your other options. Now, I've tried out all of these in actual quick match games. I think I tried one in Hero League as well. Or no, I never played a Kael'thas Hero League game. I'm just talking out of my ass. And all these are okay, but Fission Bomb is just so good. It's a lot of damage, especially if you're taking other talents that kind of emphasize Living Bomb play, which is what I think is the best build. Honestly, I really do. There's so many talents that really help deal a lot of damage through Living Bomb. Sunfire Enchantment is okay, but it's only 190 damage, or, you know, it's like twice your damage from an auto attack every 6 seconds, which isn't that good, honestly, because you're not going to be using Verdant Spheres on cooldown every time. Tri-Optimal is okay, I guess, but I just feel like this just outclasses it. And Clairvoyance is okay if you need it, maybe. We have a Tassadar, so I don't think we really need it. This game, at least. So we do have the increased range on Gravity Lab, so we're going to be trying to get some picks off on people. And it actually does end up helping us quite a lot later on. Maybe not right now, but right now we're just trying to defend against this Terror. He's going to pop out, but we can't really hit him from here, so we're just going to take care of the plant, which is probably the right call. We don't really have an absurd amount of damage yet. But Kael'thas, along with Jaina, just does a lot of burst damage, especially if you take Pyroblast, which is kind of the definition of burst damage. I probably should have went down here at this point, but I decided to clear and back because I didn't really have a super amount of health. But it was probably a mistake. I probably should have just gone down. We probably could have gotten something with a gravity lapse. But it's okay. I saw the Kael'thas moving up, so I was kind of like, what if they're moving to take our bruisers or our giants? So I was like, let's check it out, which is kind of risky, but I think, yeah, we ended up being okay. They didn't actually end up taking them, which is like, that's great. It's a great thing. So yeah, if you take a look, we're going to be throwing the living bomb on the minion in the middle so it can hit everything else with the explosion. I'll try to show it a little bit more. After this little skirmish, I'm going to stun the Thrall when he moves back in, so he actually gets hit by the tower, which does a lot of damage, and kind of prevents him from chasing down, I think. He does get healed, but he doesn't have any mana anyway. So, picking up regen globes, just trying to get some experience. We're going to move down here, mount up and move down, and we're going to try to hit something with a Netherwind. We do hit the Kael'thas. And look at that damage. Most of that was actually us. Just from the Flame Strike and Living Bomb. That's one of the strengths as well of Gravity Lapse and Kael'thas in general. He can deal a lot of damage to one target. And we're actually going to die here. That was kind of strange. I thought that might have stunned the Sonya. But I think it was just a little bit off on the angle, so didn't actually hit it. But yeah, one of the strengths of Kael'thas is he is really powerful at picking off a lone target. Kind of similar to Jaina, I suppose, in a sense. And level 10 we're going to be taking Phoenix, as we said previously. But yeah, basically you just Gravity Lapse somebody, empower your Verdant Spheres, and use Flame Strike, and then your Living Bomb. You can also throw down your Phoenix, which we're going to be doing in a little bit, to get a little bit more damage. And that's a lot of damage. 1.5 seconds, you throw out your Phoenix, you're going to get a lot of damage from the Phoenix. And it's such a low cooldown that you're not really risking anything. There's the Pyroblast, if you saw that big old ball of fire. I'm going to throw down the Phoenix here to try to get everyone clumped up and take damage. But it's a little awkward. You know, it's in a bad position, kind of, because they can just kind of sidestep it out of it. If we moved it like right here, it would probably served us a little bit better. I was trying to go for the kill on the Kael'thas as well, so... So seeds are up. We really want to try to get a Terror this night. And definitely prevent them from getting a Terror. Now we're trying to go on the Sergeant Hammer, but he just gets a little bit too much movement speed, and we're going to get a stun on the Thrall here. We kind of just predict where he's going to be. And he probably wouldn't have lived either way. But, you know, might as well secure it. Always better to secure a kill than try to be fancy and go for another. So try and do the same thing here, but we get knocked back. There's the Kael'thas, and we both whiff our Gravity Lapse. Just completely. So we're going to try to move down here and see if we can pick someone off with a Gravity Lapse, or even just throw the Phoenix in. That was a nice snipe. I think we just throw the Phoenix in here and try to deal some damage. Yeah, there goes the Phoenix. Actually, we can... Okay, so one thing I have learned about Phoenix is it's kind of weird on how it targets structures. Because the number one thing it's going to target, if it's in range, is a wall, I believe. Or actually, no, it's a hero. A hero, then it's minions, then it's a wall, which I think is... Not sure if it's intended, but I don't know. I would like if it targeted, like, at least cannons before walls, you know? I don't know. So to clear this, we're just doing basically our minion clear strat. Empower our Flame Strike and then throw a Living Bomb on something that we're focusing down. Then it explodes and, you know, deals damage to everything else. Level 13! This is when things start to get interesting. Now, I want to talk a little bit about these talents, because I have used all of them except Spell Shield, but it's Spell Shield. It's not very good. Flamethrower is actually very potent. You know, you can get a lot of value from it. Especially if you take Ignite at level 16, you can just throw out a bunch of Flame Strikes and get a lot of damage that way. And that's a pretty good way to play the hero. But I try to go for more Living Bomb talents, and that basically splits it between Chain Bomb and Pyromaniac. I really like Chain Bomb, Pyromaniac is probably more consistent because you're likely to have a living bomb on something, especially if you take Ignite later on, which we do this game. But I love a chain bomb. You know, it has such potential. It really does. You know, if someone just is walking around aimlessly and they spread the living bomb, that's so much more damage than Pyromaniac is going to give you. So I'll generally take chain bomb, which is what we do this game right now. Okay, so we do have a terror. I think the Nazebo actually ends up taking it. And basically, we want to defend this as much as we can. They're going to get a terror, I believe. Just because they only need 4. Yeah. But we're going to try to fight them. It's a little awkward. We're a little bit split. But we're going to go in here and check this out. First, I got to preface this. This is one of the strengths of Kael'thas. If people are like spread together, as almost what I said, is if they're clumped up. Because Living Bomb works well with clumped up enemies, Flame Strike works well with clumped up enemies, Pyroblast and Phoenix work well with clumped up enemies, and Gravity Lapse, if you empower it, is super great with clumped up enemies, as we see right here. We're going to get a double. We're going to throw the Phoenix out first of all. There's the Water Elemental as well, and we're going to empower our Gravity Lapse and throw it out, and we hit both of them, and a Flame Strike underneath it. It's going to secure the kill on the Sergeant Hammer, and the Thrall is going to go down as well from the Water Elemental. We get rooted and stunned from that. Kind of awkward. Uther goes down to just a bunch of damage from the Jaina. And I believe the Kael'thas goes down as well. Yeah, just too much damage. At this point, I probably should have chased with them, but I was like a little spooked and I was a little taken aback by the root, I suppose. So this is probably the right call, though. You know, take the terror when you can. This secures that they can't get any more. And we have a lot of pushing potential with the Abathur as well. And the Garden Terror, of course. So next night, as long as we get a Garden Terror like boss, we will be getting a Terror, because for those of you who don't know, the Garden Terror bosses that are like here and here, they give 60 seeds if you get all of the seeds, including the ones that explode from the body. Now here's an interesting. This is actually where I found out where it targets walls. Is we're gonna throw out the Phoenix and I'm like, it's gonna hit the towers, and it does hit the towers, but only with the splash damage, unfortunately. See, 65, 65, 65, and it's hitting this for 130. I don't know what they were thinking in making it target walls before towers, but, you know, maybe that's intended. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's the Pyroblast on the Tassadar. Now, what he should have done is he should have dimensional shifted. That's another thing with Pyroblast. It doesn't go through immunities or, you know, anything like that. So Tassadar's dimensional warp, I think that's what it's called, or phase shift or whatever, the one that makes him invulnerable, you can actually completely juke it if you use it at the right time. And same thing with like Ice Block, stuff like that. So level 16, we're going to be taking Ignite, and let's talk a little bit about why. Now, all of these talents are okay. Gravity Throw is probably the least valuable one here. Like, it's okay. It makes it a 2-second stun, which is a long time. It really is. And Arcane Barrier is super strong. Now, if we actually look at our health bar right now, I think around this phase in the game, it'll actually give us a shield to about here, which is a big shield, honestly. That's quite a big shield, and it only gets bigger as we get more stacks of Mana Addict. So it's a great synergy, and it's really good against a team that has a lot of damage or a lot of burst damage, like a Nova, Zeratul, stuff like that. It's really strong. And honestly, I find myself hesitant to even take Ignite because Arcane Barrier is so strong. Now, it is only for 3 seconds. You do have to keep that in mind. But Ignite is just so much damage. It is just a ton of damage. Because if you can Flame Strike somebody and then Living Bomb them, either before or after it hits, that's effectively a shit ton of damage, if I'm doing the math correctly. It is a lot of damage. I've seen people just get comboed to shit by the Flame Strike Living Bomb combo. It's a lot of damage, it really is. Now, you'll see again, it hits the tower before it hits the keep. Not sure if intended. Now, the Sergeant Hammer is going to show up here, but let's take a quick look. He did get hit by the Living Bomb, so he is going to explode in a bit, which is going to be a lot of damage. We know that. Now, we're going to run as far as we can, and now this is about as far as we can get. Now, he is also in the minion wave, so he's taking damage from minions, and he did explode, I believe. Now, we're going to throw out a Gravity Lapse and Flame Strike under him. Now, we should have empowered it. We definitely should have, but we just, you know, we're not the kings yet. And actually, because of the Ignite that we just took, he's going to die. And we definitely could have played that a lot better. The Kael'thas is going to try to get us, but he doesn't actually get that to work out for him. We aren't the best Kael'thas in the world by a long shot. And that's just because he's only been out for like a day, right? But what we should have done there is empowered our Q and hit him, and it would have definitely killed him. If we died, it would have been awful. But we didn't die, so it worked out. We are a bit ahead, so that is probably why I survived there. And we're just clearing here. Not a lot to be doing. We probably should be taking camps here, honestly. You know, taking siege camp, which is what Tassadar says to do. We should probably take this down here. But yeah, the game's going pretty well now. It was kind of rough when they got that first terror, but they didn't get a ton out of it, so it's okay. We are ahead now. I should have stayed here and just gotten the regen globe, but, you know, little mistakes. Little mistakes. So, effectively right now, I was tempted to clear this, but I was a little scared there were people coming behind it, so I didn't. We do see the Sergeant Hammer, and just check out how much damage we do. We do the same thing. We hit with the Netherwind and the Phoenix, and then the Flame Strike hits, and bam! Probably didn't need to use Phoenix, but, you know, better safe than sorry. And I wasn't sure if the mines that she puts down are actually affected by Gravity Lapse. I don't know if you can actually stun those. I don't think you can, but you might be able to. And we don't have Phoenix for this fight, but we do get a massive Flame Strike. Everyone has Living Bomb on them. And look at this. Boom! Everyone just explodes. And now the Kael'thas is actually going to die because of that. That's the strength of Chain Bomb. Because if people aren't paying attention, they're going to run a Living Bomb into someone. And that's not a big deal, maybe sometimes. Maybe most of the time, it's not a big deal to be hit by the explosion of Living Bomb from someone else. But if you get hit by the explosion and you have another Living Bomb ticking on you now, that is a lot of damage you're taking. That's twice this damage, practically. It's a lot of damage. You don't want to take it, but some people end up taking it because they're not really paying attention. And the cool thing about Phoenix, I didn't actually show it, but what you can do is, it's such a short cooldown, is you can use it on like Garden Terrors and stuff, and it'll be up relatively shortly after. It's a 40-second cooldown, so it's just, you know, you get a lot of value out of Phoenix. Especially at level 20 if you take up the Rebirth talent, which is what we're going to be doing this game. And we'll talk about that once we hit level 20. So just getting seeds here. I think we actually have over 100 seeds, or was that earlier? I can't quite remember. But we're going to be taking this. I think they end up showing here. Yes. We'll find out. Yep, there they are. Nice Tassadar D. I would have just ran in here and died probably if he didn't use that. But we're looking to fight here. We have Phoenix. We have everything available. We're going to be looking for Gravity Lapse if we can possibly hit a nice one. Now we get a Phoenix and it's doing a lot of damage to Sonya, but now it's out of position. And we get a solid stun on the Sonya to guarantee the kill. Again, like I said, better to guarantee a kill than try to be fancy. And like, I could have chased over here and try to hit something over here maybe, like the Uther or the Thrall maybe. And that could have worked out. But I figure, you know, why not just secure the Sonya kill? Like, why not? We have a Terror, they're chasing. You know, just play safe. Especially if you're squishy. If you're squishy, play safe.
My children must sleep for now.
So yeah, we do have 108 seeds. Going to try to get a bit of damage on this wall. Now, level 20, let's talk a real short bit about the choices here. Now, we did say we did pick up Bolt of the Storm and Arcane Power, since, you know, we saw the Data Mind talents. We did know about Rebirth and Presence of Mind. If I'm taking Phoenix, I'll generally 100% of the time take Rebirth, unless I'm against, like, maybe an Illidan who took the hunt, or an Illidan in general, or maybe Zeratul. Something with a blink or something like that. If it's that situation, I might take Bolt of the Storm. If I'm taking Pyroblast, it's kind of a toss-up between these three abilities. Presence of Mind isn't as good as I had hoped it would be, because it's really obvious, you know, the area of effect to enemies. Like, they can see what the AoE is, so they can stay out of it. You know, it's hard to get value out of this. But you do get some value, because it's always 10% cooldown reduction if you hit, of course. Bolt of the Storm, great ability. Arcane Power, great ability. Like, everything's good here. Presence of Mind is just a little iffy. Rebirth is just super strong, you know. It's effectively 100% damage if it's good, and the being able to move it is probably the reason I would take this. Is just, you know, you can basically control a fight. You know, people are kind of like trying to skirt around your Phoenix, and you just move it right back on top of them. Really powerful ability, in my opinion. So we do have another Terror, so I figure, you know, let's not play too risky, but they are playing a little risky. So we just decided to clear this, so our keep wasn't in danger. Maybe a little too passive, but we're going to do that, and now we're going to try to move in to help our team out. Nice ice block there by the Jaina, but she is going to go down, I believe. Yeah. Now we're just trying to get something. We completely whiff our gravity lapse. If we did get... There's the movement again. We did take Rebirth. We did at 20. We're going to try to hit the Kael'thas, but not going to be in range. He gets healed, and we just say, screw it. Now, I'm pretty sure we get a kill on the Sergeant Hammer just by flame striking. Yeah, and we did get a living bomb as well. Now we're just running from the Sony. We probably could have killed both of them, but I was a little scared here. I don't think... Let me actually check. We did actually get the kill on the Kael'thas from the living bomb. He's gonna die. Let's take a look at his talents. I don't think he actually took... Oh, he did take Ignite. Huh. I felt like I should have died there then. Oh well. Just, I guess, again, because we're ahead, I guess that's why I lived. So Nazebo's dead for 50 seconds. Jaina's dead for 15. So we're gonna kind of wait to take the Terror so we have a lot of efficiency with the Terror. You know, there's really no reason to wait. Or no reason to take it and just run off and die, you know? You know, we might as well have the full power of the team before we use the Terror. At least at this stage of the game. We just throw down the Phoenix because we know we're going to be taking the Terror. There's the movement again if you didn't see it the first time. And la-da-dee, la-da-doo, just hanging out, waiting for Nazebo to show up. Tassadar, taking the Siege Giants. And oh man, 15 seconds left on the Terror. I'm either waiting for Nazebo to show up or him to say something. He says go, so, you know, just take it. And we know that the Abathur's pushing top, so we say, they're pushing top. Let's head bot. So they have to choose, right? That's a great skill to have if you're playing heroes. Know where the team is going to be. I know that that bot or top is pushing pretty hard, so they have to deal with that. It's the same if there's a giant here or a boss here. They have to go deal with it. So what's the smart move? Go where they're not going to be. In this case, it's bot. If we're pushing mid, then it wouldn't matter where you go. Just don't go mid, you know? But try to go as far away from the enemy team as possible, so you can get as much efficiency as you can. Now, the plant actually lives for a long time here. You see nobody's actually dealing damage to us, so it's just wrecking the keep. So, while you're in the Terror, in this sort of position, deal damage to structures, but if you're fighting, fight, you know? Try to draw as much aggro as you possibly can. Which is what we're trying to do, while we deal with the Sergeant Hammer. So bada bing, bada boom, keeps down as well. And at this situation, we're like, okay, 2 of them are dead. We could go for the core, and that's probably not a bad call. Now, they're fighting here, so the argument could be made that I should have just turned around and helped, but it did end up working out. We did have more people than them, so I figured we'd be okay. And I'd take the safe route and just say, let's take the keeps. Take all 3 keeps. They can't do anything about it. And then if we still have time, we'll hit the core. Because even if they wipe us, I don't think they could kill us in that short amount of time. Maybe. Maybe this was a bad idea. Maybe we should have just gone for the core. But either way, you know, it works out. It works out. So now we have plenty of time. 20 seconds until Sergeant Hammer's up, so just hit the core. You know, we probably should have just hit the core when we were over here, as I said. But, you know, it worked out, and that's all that matters. All that matters is that you win. Terror actually runs out of time. Throw down the Phoenix, throw down the living bombs, throw down everything, do it all, move the Phoenix around, have a good time. And that's actually going to lead us into a victory on the Garden of Terror in 20 minutes and 37 seconds as Kael'thas, the Sun King, the newest hero in Heroes of the Storm. Just an amazing hero. I think he is very strong. I don't think he's overpowered, though. I really don't. I think he's very punishing. Kind of a lot like Jaina. He's got a lot of burst damage, and if you, like, for instance, if you stand in the Ring of Frost, you're going to get punished. If you don't stun the Kael'thas as he's pyroblasting, you're going to be punished. If you stand where the Phoenix is, you're going to get punished. And of course, there are, like, synergies with that. A Wombo combo team, I think, would have a lot of value to carry along a Kael'thas in that team, because, you can set up pyroblast really well, like with an ETC, for example. You can pyroblast into his mosh pit. You can pyroblast off an Apocalypse from a Diablo. You can do a lot of cool stuff with Kael'thas. And that's why I think, no matter what Blizzard does to him, if they do end up nerfing him or buffing him, I think he's going to be strong no matter what, just because his kit is so strong. His heroics are both really strong, but I think Pyroblast is a little bit more situational, and Phoenix is always going to get consistent use out of that ability. A good Kael'thas player, for example, knows you can't take Pyroblast with 5 tanks. It's just not going to do work. Or a bunch of CC, for example. And a good Kael'thas knows how to land his stuns. He knows what abilities to use Verdant Spheres on. And that's really what defines a good Kael'thas player, is do you know when to use your Verdant Spheres and how to aim your abilities after using them. So that has been my replay commentary as Kael'thas. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, subscribe, thumbs up, share it with your friends, anything you think is appropriate. And with that all being said, I've been Maelstrom, and I'll see you next time.